Welcome to another edition of Discover Tinley, where we highlight the people and organizations of Tinley Park that make our town a great place in which to live. And as we all know, Tinley Park is a pretty great place in which to live. My name is Ron Centani. I'll be your host tonight, and with the presentation of the Community Resources Commission, volunteer commission in town. We're the ones that produce and take care of programming this show every month. For your benefit, to help you understand what's going on around Tinley Park and see what's happening around here. Wintertime is here, so obviously we're enjoying, I use the word enjoying in quotes, the nice cool weather. But coming up soon, for those of you who come out to our event every year, Discover Tinley is coming up on April 11th. That's the big community expo we have out at the convention center. Where we show all the different commissions in town, some of the businesses, organizations, a lot of things that are happening in Tinley Park. So make sure you come on out on April 11th to the convention center, kind of watch for notices of the program coming up. If you're a vendor or you want to be in that, please get those applications in as soon as possible so we can make sure we reserve a booth for you. We're kind of fortunate this evening. We have a couple of very special guests. The first one is going to be somebody who's been around Tinley Park for quite a while and involved with a pretty major commission in town that's really done some tremendous international events with their Sister Cities Commission. And we have Randy Tietz, who is the recent past chairman of the Sister Cities Commission.
Thank you very much, Ron.
Yeah. Sister Cities Commission. Now, what is that role of the Sister Cities Commission?
Well, the Sister Cities program is one that we look on as a cultural program, and what I put it as a quality of life issue for our community. It's something that we do that adds a depth to the community that many others don't have. We've felt for a long time that international relations are important and that our community is as big as we want to make it. And so we've reached out to the rest of the world, and the community is truly international. It's amazing just how far our reach is.
Yeah, and our sister city, the beginning of the sister city was which town? That's in Germany, right?
Exactly. What we're celebrating this year is the 25th anniversary of the sister city relationship with Büdingen, Germany.
25 years we've been doing this?
25 years,
okay.
Yes.
Wow.
It began actually before that period. The official beginning was 1989. But there were groups that traveled between Tinley Park and Büdingen before that. We had a historical commission group that was there, and we had individuals from the village that were connected with the local community. So after there were a number of visits, the invitation was issued by Tinley Park to come and visit. And that was 1989. Originally, the village expected 50 people from Büdingen. And when the word got out there, the program grew. And by the time it was all said and done, there were 150.
Oh, my.
And my wife and I were among the first volunteer host families. At that time, it's hard for newcomers to realize that in that time we had no motels in town.
That's right. That's right.
And we were quite a bit smaller, so the host families were critical and have been ever since.
And these were people in town here that just opened the doors to their homes to foreign guests from Germany. Huh?
Exactly.
Wow.
And at that time, our daughter was 10 years old, and we wanted her to understand that she's part of a bigger world. And as a result, we volunteered, had a wonderful time. We went back in 1990 when they signed the reciprocal part of the agreement, because these agreements are actually recognized by both governments at the highest level. So Sister Cities program can be a community, it can be a county, it could be a state. In our area, there are other towns that have relationships near us. Cook County, for example, has a relationship with Cork County in Iowa.
Oh my.
So these are officially recognized agreements, and that was countersigned in 1990 when the group went back. And at that point, we really felt that the program needed to go on, but we didn't want to be a burden on the village. So at that time was the Human Resources Commission, which was the precursor to yours. Rita Brudd was the head of it then, and she brought us on as a committee, and then ultimately it became a commission, a freestanding commission later. And it was from that beginning that we had the highly successful program that we developed.
Yeah, I remember I was on that first tour to go to Germany. That was kind of a fantastic possibility of going over to Germany and staying in that small town. Describe the town a little bit. It's kind of a neat little town.
Yeah, it's fascinating because in essence there's two sections. There's the old walled city, which is a truly medieval city. They can trace habitation there back to the year 900.
Oh my.
So we're talking about a place that's been there a long time, but it's certainly not a museum. While there is the original walled city that is still there and intact and in beautiful condition, you also have a thriving community around there. And under the German system, Büdingen is the central location for a number of towns around, very similar to our county seat relationship. So we're speaking of an area, when you include the other towns, we're looking at about 40-some thousand people. And the town of Büdingen itself, or the city of Büdingen itself, is closer to 20,000.
Okay.
But it is a thriving community not too far outside of Frankfurt, very similar to the relationship we have with Chicago.
Okay. Yeah, there's a castle there too. It's kind of interesting.
Sure.
It's got a regular medieval castle that, I don't know if it's still lived in these days. I know it was lived in when I was there back in the 90s there.
It is, and that's an interesting point too, because when the relationship began, I mentioned the number of people grew on the very first trip. Part of the reason for that was the Büdingen bands, their fire department underwrites 2 bands, and the royal family in Büdingen, the Isenberg family, actually contributed the money that allowed the bands to travel. So we had the individuals who lived in town, we had the fire department band and a number of volunteer fire department people. They have a volunteer fire department as we do.
Yeah. Wow. And then I know our band went over there. It was a band reciprocal thing too.
Exactly.
It was going back and forth. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
we've had a couple of huge visits.
Yeah, talk about some of the size of the visits. I'll never forget that the first couple of years. How many people were we talking about visited back and forth?
Well, in 1992, we had just under 300 people traveling, and then the reciprocal trip was almost the same size. It was 298 and 289, the number of people traveling. And it's what it did was involve a lot of people in the community and created friendships in this community that have extended ever since then. The sister city idea actually developed out of something Dwight Eisenhower created. And the idea was that if citizens got together and dealt with each other across the kitchen table, so to speak, it would be a lot harder to dislike the other person and want to go to war. So it was the true citizen diplomacy idea. And I think the commission has helped allow that to happen here in Tinley Park.
Right. Now, when people visit, now the expenses are paid by the individuals, right? Nobody fills in or kicks in anything. These are all self-expensed trips.
Exactly. The commission itself is 9 members. All of them are volunteers. They all serve for 1 year, and that's up to the mayor to make the selection, and the council then says yes or no. So we're appointed annually and reviewed, so that there's no possibility that people are going to be there who shouldn't fight for some reason. And All of the volunteers serve at their own expense, and so when we travel, we all pay our own way. And when we host, we buy a little extra groceries and put on an extra pot of coffee in the morning, and yeah.
Yeah, I've hosted some of the people from there too, and yeah, you provide that. Well, you go out to eat some, but you provide home cooked meals and generally things just as you would home. Now, you've done some student exchanges. Briefly talk about some of these student exchanges.
Yes, we have a very highly successful program with Andrew High School. Victor J. Andrew High School stepped up and said they would be willing to work with their German language department and host students for an exchange. Andrew had been doing exchanges prior to that, and we met and they understood, I believe, that there could be a closer relationship between towns and something that could be more personal and more long-lasting. And so now we've had so far 3 complete trips, and Andrew will go back next year in the summer. So we've had approximately 15 people on each trip, 15 students and 2 teachers each time. The teachers first came here from Budigan, and then our group went to Budigan from Tinley Park, and now they were just here, students were just here from Wolfgang Ernst Gymnasium in October of this year, 14, excuse me. And so our students will go in the summer of next 15.
Wow. Well, that's kind of neat to keep that going. That's kind of nice with the young people getting involved with that too.
Yeah, that's exactly the case.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more young people involved, and I think we need to be doing more outreach in areas that, I'm not trained in Twitter and and websites and that sort of thing, and that's definitely should be part of the program, and I expect that you'll see in the future there will be a lot of outreach and new forms of outreach, especially the electronic forms.
Wow. Well, that's something to be looking forward to, I guess. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Real briefly, how's this been good for Tinley Park?
Well, it's been good in a number of ways. We are an engine, the commission is an engine of tourism. So while the village does get a small amount of tax money from the from various taxes relating to tourism, and some of that's used to support tourism. So this is a natural outgrowth of that. There is money that comes into the community and is spent in the community. I know everyone who's hosted always makes sure they go to the local restaurants.
Of course, yeah.
And we've found that especially the younger people love to shop. And so we always say shop Tinley, and we do our best to support that. And businesses have been very good to us as well. So there is a commercial aspect, but as I said before, our interest is in extending an opportunity for people to do something special in their community. Not every community offers this. In fact, in our area, probably the closest very active program is Chicago Heights.
That's about it, yeah.
And there are a few others, and a couple that are not involved with Sister City International, which we are. So while they do exist, I think it's an area that it allows an opportunity. And if people want to get involved, we're always happy to have people involved.
Well, we look forward to another 25 years. Thank you for your service. Randy Tietz, past chairman of the Sister Cities Commission.
Tinley Community Expo will be held April 11, 2015 at the Tinley Park Convention Center, 183rd and Harlem from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Southland's finest community expo is free to the public and allows the visitors to view exhibits from local businesses, professionals, nonprofits, churches, fraternal groups, and local government. Looking for a doctor, a bank, a real estate professional, or someone to fix your windows? You can find all these and more while enjoying the entertainment and food samples from local restaurants. It's a family event with face painting, balloons, and inflatables for the children, so mark your calendars now. If you wish to participate in Discover Tinley, you can download an application at www.tinleypark.org or call 708-444-5444. We hope to see you there April 11th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Well, it's kind of interesting seeing our Sister Cities Commission active in Tinley Park for 25 years. It's kind of a testament to the volunteer spirit of Tinley Park. We've got another program that just recently arrived into Tinley Park, and they do a lot with helping others, helping people who need some assistance and some support. And it's a program called GiGi's Playhouse, but it's not like what you think it is. So we're going to talk to some of our guests here. First one is Diane Husar, who's a site coordinator for GiGi's Playhouse, and Lisa Callaghan, who is the board president.
Yes.
That sounds pretty important.
No, yes.
Okay, of GiGi's Playhouse. Okay, what is GiGi's Playhouse, basically?
Okay, GiGi's Playhouse is a center that offers support for families who have a child with Down syndrome or have received a diagnosis that they're carrying a child with Down syndrome. So we offer educational and therapeutic support. We offer new parents support if they have questions, if they're scared, if they need a doctor referral. So it's parents coming together to support one another in a very safe environment.
Why do we need something like that? Why is that important nowadays? And what's some of the characteristics of families having to deal with a Down syndrome situation?
Okay, well, I gave birth to a young boy, Luke, who's now 7.5, and my husband and I did not have a prenatal diagnosis. So it's very shocking. It's very scary. There's some sadness that goes into it. But when you Google Down syndrome, one of the first things that pops up is GiGi's Playhouse. And when you're looking for something positive, GiGi's Playhouse is all about positive. So I investigated what it was, and I visited a few of the playhouses and realized that we didn't have anything like that here in the south suburbs. Oh. So I put together a board. Lisa Callaghan was the very first person that I asked, and the board gathered. We made plans, we fundraised, and we brought a GiGi's Playhouse to Tinley Park.
Now, how long ago was that? Now, when did you first get involved with this?
The very first letter that I sent out was in August of 2012, and that was asking friends and family for support. And the response I got was overwhelming, just letters of support, but also money supporting. We had a lot of money to raise to get the Playhouse opened. And once I got that response so positively, then it gave me confidence to go out, and we did fundraisers and spread the word that we were coming, and families come from all over. Oh, wow. They really, really want a GiGi's in the area, and so it's been really a positive experience.
Describe the Playhouse. It's a what is it, a storefront or an office building, or what actually is the location site like?
In general, they are a strip mall setting.
Okay.
The original GiGi's is in Hoffman Estates. It was established 12 years ago for a little girl, GiGi. Her mom, Nancy Gianni, really wanted something that was positive because she had gotten a lot of negative feedback, and she wanted to change the perception of Down syndrome. So the very first GiGi's was in a strip mall. And the idea is that you get walk-by and drive-by traffic to raise awareness. And we have our kids' pictures on display so that our children's faces are out there for the public to see. So the vast majority are in strip malls. Here in Tinley Park, we were offered a beautiful Victorian home. So we are in the Fulton home, and it's a different setting, and our families are getting used to smaller rooms, but a large space. And the feedback we're getting is that it's very, very homey. It's like walking into your own home, which adds another level of comfort to people.
Wow. Now, what should people understand about living with or working with Down syndrome people? And maybe describe what Down syndrome really is. What is that?
Okay, well, Down syndrome is 3 copies of the 21st chromosome rather than 2. So basically, our kids share a lot of very common characteristics. They have slanted eyes. They have a line on their hand, it's a simian crease. They have low muscle tone. They have issues sometimes with hearing and speech. They have issues with low muscle tone, so that they need a lot of extra therapy. So the center itself focuses on everything that those kids are going to need that a typically developing child might not need to get extra support when they're younger, so that they can develop at more of a regular pace, not lag behind their peers.
Now, do you do therapy and education, or do you do a little of everything? Or?
Well, everything at GiGi's is volunteer-based, so based on who you gather. So if a physical therapist is interested in volunteering, you create a program that allows physical therapy in the Playhouse. If you have a speech therapist who can offer her services, then you offer speech. But we do offer programs like reading tutoring and math tutoring so that the kids get programming at school, but then they get extra support outside of the home.
So this is outside of school. They go to their regular school during the day and then come to your place like, what, afternoons, evenings?
Saturdays.
Okay.
And then during the day, though, children under the age of 3 receive therapy in their home, and their schedules are more flexible to come into the Playhouse. So one of our most popular programs is 2 and Under, and it's every Friday morning from 10 until 12. So new parents can come in. In fact, we have had 2 families that were expecting a child with Down syndrome who were able to come and meet other families who have children with Down syndrome, realize this can be a very positive experience, realize that, you know, your life has not ended as you know it, and get to talk to other people, have questions answered. And those moms and dads, they form lifelong friendships because they share this common bond that a lot of people don't have.
Talk about your experiences with growing up with a child. You have a child with Down syndrome also, or?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I am Diane's sister-in-law.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have had the pleasure of being with Luke ever since he was born. I babysat him while Diane was at school.
Okay.
And it's once you meet a child with Down syndrome, you can't ever say no.
Okay.
They are the happiest group of children you will ever meet.
I've seen that, yeah.
They're all, I mean, I don't understand it. They're always smiling. They're always willing to hug, and it's hard to say no when someone's saying, please.
Wow. What's been
That's
your
the sign
experience?
for please.
What's
Sorry,
been
my
your
son uses that
experiences?
honor.
Maybe give us some personal experiences of dealing with a child like that you've had to go through.
Okay, well, I honestly, didn't grow up knowing anyone with Down syndrome. So I love the evolution of our society and that our children are more a part of the community now. So you go out and about, you see children at the grocery store who have Down syndrome, you see children at the movie theater who have Down syndrome. So the world is becoming more aware and more accepting. But, you know, there are challenges. Lisa's saying that, you know, children with Down syndrome are very happy. My son has a temperament just like a typically developing child. Yes, he's super cute. Yes, he uses his smile, but he also has a temper. He also has, you know, he gets frustrated and he wants things his way and he's very stubborn. But in the end, he's still adorable and he's still my son. I think that what I've learned is that these kids are just more alike than they are different. And yes, the diagnosis is scary, but it is life as we know it, and it can be a perfect life also.
Now you got a big event coming up next month. What's the event that's pretty important at your organization?
Every GiGi's Playhouse does an annual gala every year. The goal is to always have it, or the goal is to have it the same day, all playhouses. It doesn't always work that way. This year we are having ours on March 28th. It is at the Tinley Park Convention Center. It is the biggest fundraiser that we have. I would say last year that event alone generated 50% of our fundraising dollars.
Wow.
As Diane mentioned, everything we do is free to the families. So we need a lot of fundraising to be able to support these kids and adults. So this year, it's March 28th at the Tinley Park Convention Center. It is a semi-formal event, so you can get dressed up. You don't have to get super dressed up, but it's dressed up. We have a band, or a DJ, sit-down dinner, auctions, a lot of fun. Last year's was our first time doing it, and it was amazingly successful, and this year we're expecting it even better.
Now, how do people contact you to get involved with that or come to it?
All of our information is available online. We have a website. It's www.gigisplayhouse.org and then /Tinley Park. So if you're looking for specific playhouse, it's a / and the name of the city that the playhouse resides in, so Tinley Park. There's links there for events, and there's a link there for our gala. So people could purchase tickets online. They can call the Playhouse. Our number is 708-597-7529. I can answer any questions. I am the site coordinator, so I'm the person that answers the phone.
Okay.
So they would be speaking directly to me.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that sounds kind of neat, kind of fun occasion there to.
And, I have to say, I'll add with the gala, we offer people, when we send the invitations out, they can sponsor an adult with Down syndrome to attend the gala. And last year we had 4 adults and 4 teenagers that were actually sponsored. And to see them celebrating. This really was a party for them.
Okay.
And the dancing they were doing and the energy that they had and the appreciation people had for them, the room was full of love. I mean, it
Yes.
was just
bet.
a magical night.
bet.
And it was really very rewarding. Like, I wrote to the people that donated that money and said, you know, you sponsored a teenager to go. She had the most wonderful time. Her family was so grateful. So it's definitely a celebration.
Wow. All right, March 28th.
28th.
Okay, make sure we get that going there and
Yes,
get
yes.
a big turnout. How many people did you have coming last year?
Last year we had 230,
Oh, my
and we're
goodness.
aiming for 300 this year.
Yes.
Wow,
And I do think we'll reach it. I really do.
that's a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Well, it sounds like you guys, and you've got a lot of programs there. We got about a minute left.
Okay.
You've got a lot of programs involved with your thing too, though. You really tie on. Maybe mention a couple programs you have at your.
Sure. Our most successful are the 2 and under, which bonds the families together at a young age. We have a Teen-tastic program, so that allows teens to get out and it gives their parents a couple of nights out. They can go out to dinner in downtown Tinley and have their kids in a safe environment. We have an adult program called Friday Friends. We have on Saturdays Hop, Skip, and Jumpers, which is like a preschool program for an hour in the morning with story times and arts and crafts and snacks, and the kids really are learning to socialize. We also have a Skill Builders, because I mentioned earlier our kids have low muscle tone. So Skill Builders focuses on fine motor skills, but the kids think they're just playing. So it involves play, but therapy involved.
Okay. How many people would you say come to your facility every day or daily on a?
Well, we have 96 families registered,
Oh my goodness.
and that's all throughout the western or the southern suburbs.
Wow.
But on a daily basis, I would say we probably have maybe 10 families. On a weekend program, maybe 15 families, and then during a week, probably we touch about 25 families.
Wow. That's more than I figured on it. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Then really is that big of a demand here in the south suburbs there.
Yes.
Wow. You got a fantastic program there. It sounds tremendous, and it's good for people to understand better what this is all about and how to work with it. And then these young people they're nice young people. And like you said, the ones I've met with the Down syndrome, they've been happy. I don't know how do they do it, but I wish I had their attitude
Exactly.
sometimes. So congratulations on
Thank you.
the wonderful program you're doing. GiGi's Playhouse. Okay, it's over on Oak Park Avenue near 167th Street. Phone number real quick.
708-597-7529.
And the website.
www.gigisplayhouse.org/Tinley Park.
Wow. Welcome. Okay, thanks for watching for Discover Tinley, and we'll see you next month. Okay. You made it.
We done
We
good?
did
You
it.
done good. I think you
You
covered
done
everything.
good.
I think we did all right, yeah.
Okay. I think you covered everything. Good.
Yay.